Hey everyone, before we dive into today's episode, I just want to take a moment and say thank you. This is the final episode of season 3, and it's been such a wonderful ride for me, especially creating this series called Eat Smart has not only been meaningful to me personally, but hearing from so many of you across the world and even from the different parts of the world had made me truly special. I started this with a simple goal to share what I have learned and lived through to help you take better care of yourself. Most probably, I talk without fluff, without pressure. I just real talk. Every message, every share, every listen, it means more than you know. And I promise this is not the end, just the end of the chapter. Season 4 will be coming soon with new themes, new energy, and even more value that I hope connects deeply with your everyday life. So, once again, thank you so much for riding with me. Let's close this season so strong. All right. Thank you all once again. Let's deep dive into our episode, final episode for this Eat Smart series. Eat to perform, not to escape. Yeah, we all have those days, isn't it? Some days we have bad mood and then we eat some ice cream, or we are bored, we eat some snacks. But the question is that really helping us, or we are just doing mindlessly? I would like to share some insights from my own personal experience. Uh, Me and my friends, while we are, just chilling in my space, just watching TV, and they were like, "We want to eat something," and then I gave some snacks and stuff, and I got very curious because few hours back, like literally 1 to 2 hours back, they had full full on blast, kind of food coma kind of a blast. They ate a lot. But then within 1 to 2 hours, they were very hungry because I asked them, like, what made you so hungry? They said, we are not hungry, we are just bored while watching TV or something. So they just want to eat. And then that triggered me to record this episode. Basically, they are just eating because they are bored. And I am so surprised. And I asked them, like, do you only do this or everybody else does this? And they were like, yeah, most people does this on a daily basis, and what's wrong with it? And then I understood, okay, now I have to definitely add to this my final podcast because I mean final episode of this podcast for this season, so that people need to keep in mind we only eat to perform, not to escape from boredom or sadness or bad mood or bad day. All right, you have to eat something very mindfully because most people got confused here. Eating food every now and then without feeling hunger is like you are just overloading your system unnecessarily and inviting unnecessary problems to your body, mind, gut, everything else. So you need to understand eating to escape is nothing but emotional eating. The short term dopamine will lead to definitely long term guilt for most people. So, what I highly suggest is you need to be very, 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 very mindful when it comes to food, and you only need to eat it when you really, really feel hunger or hungry. If you're not hungry, just drink some water and focus on your thoughts. Most of the time, most people eat excess amount of food because they want to numb themselves from whatever the pain they are going through, or emotionally depressed, or whatever the reason might be. So I think most people does this subconsciously. They eat a lot. I call it most. I mean, we all call it like emotional eating, like sudden cravings when they are very much bored and when they are anxious or angry or tired. They just eat mindlessly, munching. And nowadays most people scroll through Instagram and eat non-stop. They will eat something they don't even feel, and they will feel guilty after eating you know so like for after eating it for few minutes they feel something is wrong with their gut. When they sat themselves in silence, then that's when they understand this is all messed up. So definitely people need to focus on changing their mindset when it especially comes to food, because food is supposed to be a fuel, not an escape. I'll give an example. Say I own a Dominar 400, isn't it? It's like this. I just fill the gas till up to the certain point and then I don't, right? I only refill my tank when it's about to be empty and when it's about to be like it's gonna come to stall. Other than that, I don't fill it unnecessarily. So if you keep on filling your stomach or your motorcycle till the rim, guess what will happen every now and then? It gets overloaded and it overflows, and the gas will be all over the place. Same goes with your stomach too. If you eat excessive amount of food, it it is just too much overload to your gut and your brain, to your body, and it takes lots of time effort to digest and convert into energy. And if you look at your own belly or stomach and if you see a round pot sitting over your belly, which means you are eating excessive calories of food which is not at all helping you in any way. They are just stored in as fats, and you'll feel bad, groggy, mentally foggy, and all those things because of that. So you have to eat something, or you have to eat food only to perform your daily functions and daily activities. So don't overeat. How to find out once you had overeat some food is simple. After eating food, after a few minutes, if you already feel sleepy or foggy or tired or moody, which simply says you already overate more than the required calories for your body. So you plan accordingly and eat accordingly, choose very, very wisely, and be very aware of what you are eating. Are you hungry really, or you are just eating because you are bored? You need to keep that in mind. Food isn't the enemy, it's your ally if you use it right. But the moment you use it in a wrong way, it literally turns into poison. Not the literal poison, but a slow poison that you will slowly see the adverse effects of it in your long run, which leads overeating and excessive eating of food leads to so many diseases. Like, I'll give the simple regular disease we have right now is like diabetes. Over the period of time, you will end up having diabetes because you overate, and everything that from there it leads to bunch of other diseases that correlates with this particular disease, and you will end up in a loophole of eating over again and again and again and again and again. You will fall into that loophole of eating a lot. And people also have misconception these days, just because you eat a lot that doesn't mean you get a lot of energy. That's completely utter nonsense, because there is also an age limitations for everyone, especially for people who are like teenagers. They can eat a lot, that's fine, because their metabolism is so high, they can burn it everything, they are entering into a growth phase, that's fine. After you reach to a certain age point where there is no growth physically, then definitely eating a lot will make you just obese or overweight. That doesn't help you in any way. So keep that in mind. Of course, age also matters while eating a lot. So some people might question me like this: Doc, I am almost every day. I eat a lot, all kind of junk food and everything, but I don't get fat or I don't be obese or stuff like that. And let me tell you what, if you eat a lot and you develop a fatty belly or something, you are still in a healthy phase in terms of health, because once you overloaded your body and your body shows the signs of depositing fat, which means you are still in a safe zone where you can come back to your normal phase. And for some people, if you are still looking like thin, which means your blood sugars are being affected in a long term, you don't even realize because everything is happening internally. And after few years, if you go and test it out for diabetes, you will having so much sugar in your blood, and it leads to so many problems like kidney diseases and stuff like that. Just so don't get fooled because you eat a lot and you still look like a thin stick. That doesn't guarantee you that you are very healthy. So there are so many different parameters and so many misconceptions around all these things which might mess you up. I can pretty much understand that. So regular checkups for your health is pretty much necessary once you reach certain age group. Usually we say once you reach 40 years you need to check up, go for a regular checkup and all those stuff. But looking at today's problems with the food, I think once you reach 30, I think you should start yearly checkups or quarterly checkups with your health. Check up your hemoglobin, blood sugars, and diabetes check. All these things, pretty much necessary because so much I know, on an average, most people are not exercising these days. Everybody has like a sedentary lifestyle. Most people are indoors all the time. Nobody prefers going out and exercising these days, and eating too much of food that literally makes them numb. All these things are, scheduled you for long term destruction. So in order to avoid that, you need to be very, very, very mindful when it comes to food. So, and also in India specifically, I need to tell you, because most of the weddings, receptions, all those hi-fi stuff will happen late at night, which is absolutely, I am against all those things. I will also explain you why. Because weddings and receptions are fine, but most of the time when they will allot the times for food, usually it's after 8 p.m. or something like that. And guess what? If you eat after those times and you are somewhere around 40s or 50s and stuff like that, and you go eat the food and come back home, guess what's gonna happen? You won't feel like active, you won't feel like good, you don't feel well the next day. You feel drowsy, you feel mentally foggy, you feel your mood is disturbed, you feel all those things for sure. And I am completely against, I'm not against weddings or receptions or any functions or some type, but the timing is very crucial. I really suggest to keep push those receptions or whatever during daytime before 6 p.m. would be absolutely amazing for everyone. But unfortunately, these things become very common in India. I don't know why, but that's okay. But this is there are exceptions too. I mean, if you are only going to have that once in a while, that will be fine. But if you are having such food timings, especially in Indian weddings, we all know that you will definitely, if you are an Indian, you will be able to correlate with this, especially in weddings and so-called receptions and family functions or whatever. They will serve you with most heaviest food possible, and if you eat few of them, congratulations, you will be on a consistent basis. If you attend all those weddings, you will be very high risk for developing diabetes in long term. So yeah, I think it's a high time, I think, for our generations to change all those timings. At least pick a Sunday or something, like somewhere in the daytime, like a lunch would be a preferable time rather than the evenings. I don't know, but looks like people are prefer night times only. Maybe this is because they are not aware of what comes after. But I'm not against anything. I am only against the timing of particular food events. That's all. Because I will also give one more example. I have recently, when I went for Kerala Wayanad ride, I have met certain people who are software engineers and bank employees and other stuff. But I observed one thing: most of them are not fit, not healthy. They are all like overweight, and some people are like obese and stuff like that. Then I asked, do you even work out, what is your timings and all those stuff? And most of them like told me, after heavy work we come home and then we eat good food. And I asked them, like, are you really hungry at that point of time, or you just ate because in our tradition we say you have to eat before sleeping, or you have to eat, you should not sleep on an empty stomach and such, like something like that. And most of the people told me that they just eat even though they are not hungry. I'm like surprised and ask them why. Because after eating, they will get good sleep. Basically, what they are doing is they are numbing themselves, and they think because of that numbness, they get good sleep. And I ask them, next morning when you wake up, how do you feel? They tell me like they feel like they have headache. So what do you do when you feel like headache? They will have some cup of tea or coffee. Oh my god, this is even the worst. So you are basically very tired and you are numbing that by having a caffeinated drink early in the morning or whenever you wake up on an empty stomach. Isn't that right? And they said yes. And then I asked them follow-up question. So after certain hours, you feel like heavy stomach, gassy stomach, bloating, all those things. And they said yes. And the cycle continues every single day. So guess what? This caffeinated drink in the morning will simply aggravate acidity in your stomach, which leads to bloating and irregular moods and that mental foggy feeling, everything. And they eat late at night, which spikes their insulin to stay at the peakest level whole throughout the night. And then next morning, they take this caffeinated drink and then high sugar foods, and then the cycle repeats and repeats and repeats, which means their insulin will never become normal basically, because most caffeinated drinks like tea and coffee have good amount of sugar. They drink with good amount of sugar, and most people don't even sleep well because of this. And it's a brutal thing for their long term health, where they will inevitably develop diabetes because your insulin was never normal and did not get the time to recover at all. And if it goes for over a period of time and this becomes a habit, this habit in order leads to a ritual, and then it becomes a normal lifestyle thing, and after few years they will end up having diabetes. Ta-da! And from there, every organ will get into a trouble in some way, and eventually their lifespan get reduced. And and not only that, some people have social gatherings, they have alcoholic beverages, isn't it? Especially at what time? Night time. And it also contains certain levels of added sugars and stuff. And what else they add to that? They add soft drinks, and then they add fried foods, and then they are all excessive sugar kind of foods at that point of time. Look at how much you overloaded your body with excess sugars without even realizing that you have done this by yourself. So now, everybody who is listening to my podcast, at any point, if you think you are one of them that I gave so many examples, now you need to cut down everything one at a time. Don't worry, you won't develop diabetes or anything on one day, but if you don't break the chain at this point of time, and if you don't start eating only to perform, then you will inevitably develop so many diseases in the long run. But this is the root cause for everything. Keep that in mind. This is the root cause that most of your doctors and healthcare professions will not disclose due to time factors and patient rush and everything. But this is the actual root cause of your problems in day to day life. Yes, you heard it right. And guess what? If you go out to a restaurant in weekends, when will most people prefer to go out anyways? In the nights. And they will go and have all the soda drinks, energy drinks, soft drinks, all these things have excessive sugars, and then fried foods, heavy foods, biryanis during that time. And you are inevitably rooting yourself for a higher destructions, and you will eventually end up having lots of diseases that you won't even realize that you have them until you get tested. I know most of the Indians won't get tested because they don't even have an idea that there are certain tests that exist to check their health, because nobody gives a damn about their health in the first place until they end up having any disease or having some uncertain thing that happened. That's when they will realize health is very important. I don't know why this happened to this kind of, we came to this kind of situations somehow, but I really urge you guys, especially people over 30, to get annual or quarterly checks for your health, just to be healthy. So that's why I always suggest everyone, most of 95% of your diseases can be solved with right amount of food at right amount of time. That's why I named this series as Eat Smart, so that you will not end up having these diseases or end up having to pay huge bills to the hospitals in later on days. If you are end up in such situations, and after hearing this podcast and you still did not change anything, then definitely you people need to have my business card for sure. Now I'm gonna make a lot of money out of you for not following my instructions. So get my business card for sure, or get my email to approach me. I will give you consultations for sure. And this time I will charge you so that you will understand. I know Indians and most people across the world have this kind of mindset where if it is free, nobody gives a damn. I'm fully aware of that as well. And this time, once we charge certain amount, that's when people will realize how important their health in the first place is. I'm just kidding, guys. I don't charge, I don't do any such things, but I'm just, this is just for fun. I'm just saying all this. Anyways, so people keep in mind you can change everything and you can do everything, you can achieve everything in life, but first thing you need to conquer to do great things in life, first thing you need to conquer is keeping health in check. That contains everything. Because if you are not healthy, no matter what, no matter if you have crores of money or millions of dollars in your bank account, it doesn't make a damn. You might have access to good amount of healthcare systems or good doctors, but guess what? If you don't treat the root cause of the problem, you will end up spending a lot of money and coming back to the same again and same loophole again and again and again. So, mind you, your root cause for most of the problems is in what you eat on a daily basis. So, take control of your health and start eating healthy foods and start eating smartly so you won't end up like that. And I will also like to suggest, just because I said eat healthy, that doesn't mean you need to avoid all your favorite foods forever. No, no, no. I'm not saying that. You can eat whatever you want once in a while. That's fine. Your body will take, but it should be like this. Let's just take in a week. It should be 90-95% healthy. Maybe that 5 to 10% you can have once in a while unhealthy kind of food. Not, I'm not saying you should have it. If you ever want to have it, you can still enjoy that once in a while. That's all right. Your body can take care of it. But mostly nowadays people are going 90-95% of unhealthy food because they are cheap and easily accessible everywhere, and that 5 to 10% of healthy, that's where even for some people 100% unhealthy every single day. Trust me, I know you guys are working very hard and you are making that money in a hardest way possible. You are working long hours and stuff like that, and if you don't take care of your health, you will just end up spending that hard earned money to the hospitals or healthcare professionals and doctors, everyone like us, and you will then feel like, what is the whole point of working this hard in the first place? So I know, and I will also agree on certain things that no matter what and how much healthy food we eat, we still die. Some people also say this. I completely agree. But we don't die due to diseases. We might die in other ways, true. Maybe some uncertain things that we are not in control of, maybe true, but you won't end up in hospital for, having the said diseases before. At least. At least we can take preventive measures. That's what I am trying to say. Especially, even I am seeing, looking at the teenagers and kids, they are all eating high sugary foods from very young age. I mean, come on, guys, what happened now? Like, you are eating all the nonsense these days in the name of, trends and all those things. Don't do that. And even I saw the parents are, feeding little kids with high sugary drinks. I saw with my own eyes when I was traveling from one place to another. I don't remember what that place is. I was waiting for the said vehicle at that bus station, and I noticed the kid was like less than 5 years, and mother is feeding with a soft drink. because the kid is very hungry. And she's feeding with the soft drink. I was like, what? You are giving soft drink to your kid at that age? Then I asked her, are you aware of what you are doing right now? And she innocently replied, like, my kid is very hungry. I don't know what to do, so I just gave him a cool drink or a soft drink. I told the mom politely, ma'am, you are destroying your kid's health. You have no idea of. Rather than giving that soft drink or whatever, why don't you purchase a water bottle, which is much, much, much better in this scenario? Because of this, your kid might have so many problems in the long run. And the mother politely replied, that's okay, no problem. And I said, you definitely deserve a business card, my business card. When everything goes wrong, then definitely visit me. You will definitely visit. I told her in a smiling and funny way. They just took it as a joke. I made it as a joke. Don't worry. But come on, don't put yourself, especially for the new mothers and fathers. You need to be aware of what you are doing, guys. Because 90% of the problems are with the new generation parents. Because they eat all the nonsense and that's what they teach their kids. So you are doomed. So I hope you all got the good value from it. And I would like to wrap this episode up and also this season up. This is season 3. I call it Eat Smart series. And I hope you got a good value from it, and all my tips will work for you for everywhere. All you just need to do is eat mindful food and eat healthiest food possible. That doesn't not necessarily be very expensive. Eat whatever you can, whatever available in your environment, but eat mindfully. That's all I'm saying. Thank you so much for everyone for tuning into my podcast, and thank you for everyone who is listening from all across the world. It really means a lot. It keeps me going, and I will definitely come up with the new seasons soon. So thank you so much. This is Dr. Mukund signing off.